पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। आप सभी का स्वागत है आज के इस भगवद गीता के प्रवचन में। और हम अध्ययन कर रहे हैं द्वितीय अध्याय के 64वें श्लोक को। तो पीछे के 2 श्लोक में भगवान ने बताया था किस प्रकार
In the previous 2 verses, Bhagavan had explained how from kama, from krodha, from sammoha, loss of memory and destruction of intelligence leads to fall down of the sadhaka.
उसका क्या निदान, क्या उसका भैषज है, क्या इलाज है, क्या उसका समाधान है, उसको इस श्लोक में बताते हैं।
So here he explains what is the solution of that. Like in the previous 2 verses, he explained how by loss of intelligence the person falls down. Here he is explaining how we can upgrade ourselves.
विषय का ध्यान करने से, चिंतन करने से उसमें राग पैदा हो जाए।
So he had explained how by dwelling on the Vishaya sense objects, we become attached to that. So the solution is opposite.
तो भगवान कहते हैं परंतु आत्म
Translation: but a self-controlled person, even while experiencing the sense objects through the senses, which are under the regulation of the self and hence devoid of attraction and aversion for their objects, attains tranquility of mind. So the fundamental problem is not the sense object itself. Generally we talk like that because of sense objects the person falls down. But the fundamental problem is having raga dvesh, attachment and hatred towards the sense objects. So I have explained earlier also that mind runs on 2 tracks, raga and dvesha, attachment and hatred, attachment and aversion. And then the other feelings also arise, like kama, anger, etc. They all come from here only, raga dvesha. So a person has to keep this under control. This is a very important verse because in the previous 2 verses, the problem of the person was explained because everyone has experience of anger. Because people may say that I do not have any karma, but nobody can deny that I don't have regarding anger because others see our anger. Kama is hidden inside. Others may or may not be able to see whether we are Nishkam or Sakam.
करता तो सबको पता चलता है, तो इसलिए यहाँ पर वो बताते हैं कि उसका
So
मूल
here
जड़
he is
कहाँ है।
explaining what is the root where of this disease, because everyone has this.
पूरी परंपरा भगवान ने बताई, वो भी होता ही है।
Because after anger, what the whole sequence that Bhagavan explained,
क्रोध अपने आप तो होता नहीं है,
and before anger also there is something, because anger doesn't happen on its own.
दो जो पिछले वाले श्लोक हैं उस पर
So if anyone is becoming angry, we should understand that the verses describing the sequence prior to anger also apply to that person.
तो जो व्यक्ति
He should just understand that he has this problem. So for a person who is honest and
उन्नति प्राप्त करने के लिए गंभीर है, उसको इस
serious about progressing on the spiritual path should deliberate seriously.
प्रायोगिक है, सांसारिक व्यक्ति
And it is not just a matter of spirituality, it is very practical also.
आत्मा प्रसादम अधिगच्छति। प्रसाद का मतलब प्रसन्नता।
So here prasada means happiness.
धातु से ही बनी है, तो प्रसन्नता तो हर एक व्यक्ति चाहता है,
So everyone wants happiness.
अपने जीवन में
Who doesn't want to be happy?
व्यक्ति चाहता है, तो भगवान उसका मंत्र बता रहे हैं कि कैसे आए।
So Bhagavan is telling the mantra, the secret to happiness. Because generally we keep running after happiness, but we do not achieve that.
प्राप्त कर सकते हैं,
We may achieve wealth, we may achieve position, but achieving happiness, that is quite difficult.
कहता है आत्मवश्य, भगवान कहते हैं आत्मवश्य,
Because Bhagavan is telling
कि जिसका अपनी इंद्रियों पर नियंत्रण
that a person who has control, regulation over his senses, one who is self-controlled, self-regulated.
किसी को कुछ करने के लिए कहना,
Videya means to tell somebody to do something.
उसको कर सकता है, तो हमारी आत्मा
And Videya is one who can do that. So here Atma refers to mind and buddhi.
कि उसके विधि में चलती है,
So here it means one who has the Videya.
काम करती है,
It functions according to the control of the person. That is Videya Atma. Only such a person can achieve the prasad. Here it refers to happiness, tranquility of mind. So for that it is not necessary how much wealth you should have, how much property you should have, what kind of wife you should have.
व्यक्ति यही सोचता
Doesn't depend on that, because human being thinks like that only.
है आय होगी,
That when I will have certain level of income, certain standard of life, certain level of wealth, property, only then I will be happy.
नहीं है, इसको समझना है इस बात को, क्योंकि ये सबके अंदर ये
But that is not the truth, because everyone is under this illusion. Wealth is a necessity undoubtedly.
तो एक उदाहरण मैं देता हूँ, अभी का ताजा ताजा, इसको कहते हैं ना,
So I'll give you an example, very fresh example.
बहुत ही अमीर स्त्री है,
That is a very rich woman,
कोई काम नहीं किया ना,
and she has so much money that she has not done any job in her life, neither will she do in future.
तो अब उसका एक बच्चा है, तो डिनर पे वो बैठे हुए हैं, तो
So they
बच्चे
are sitting for the dinner and she wants to feed egg to the child, but the child is not happy.
तुमको भोजन नहीं मिलेगा,
So the mother says that you have to eat this, otherwise you won't get food. So he consumes the egg and then he starts vomiting,
को भूख लगी, कहता नहीं अब तो
and then he doesn't get the food, and at the night he is told that now the time for food is over. So he sleeps out of hunger.
ये अमीर आदमी
Like this, 3 days he did not get food. This is the situation of rich people.
कारण अगर आप जानोगे कि
Now, what is the reason behind that?
चाहती हूँ कभी हम कहीं रेस्टोरेंट में जाएं तो ऐसा ना हो कि इसको ये खाना चाहिए था और वो नहीं मिला, तो इसको आदत पड़ जानी चाहिए।
And why she fed like this to the child, thinking that if this boy goes to a restaurant and he doesn't get his desired food, then he should have habit of eating egg also. So what kind of samskar we are feeding in him, and when he will grow up, he will never forget this.
विधेय आत्मा,
So like this, vidheya atma,
संयम नहीं है,
until and unless we do not have self-control
कोई संयम नहीं
and we want to control others.
है, और जो उसको नहीं खाना
The lady doesn't have any self-control, but she wants to control the child.
तो इसलिए भगवान यहाँ कहते हैं कि जो विधेय
That's
आत्मा
why
नहीं है,
Bhagavan is speaking here that those who are not vidheya atma, they can never be happy.
और पीछे में जो
This is the secret. And what I had told earlier about anger,
उन्होंने बहुत बड़ा यज्ञ किया, और
he
यज्ञ में
did
जो
a big yajna,
देवताओं को
and in the yajna sacrifice, he invited all the devatas, Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Parvati also,
पारिवारिक,
because they are all family members.
तो वहाँ जब वो सदस्य हुई, सभा हुई यज्ञ में,
So when the
तो सब बैठे,
assembly
ब्रह्मा जी
was ready
शिव जी भी बैठे
for that yajna, Brahma, Shiva all were sitting, and then Daksha arrived there
आए तो सब खड़े
because he is the Yajman. So when he arrived, everyone stood up
आदरणीय व्यक्ति हैं, ब्रह्मा जी
because
हैं और यजमान हैं वहाँ के,
they are very respectable.
लेकिन शिव
He's
जी
a
और
respectable
ब्रह्मा जी खड़े
person.
नहीं हुए, ब्रह्मा
But
जी तो इसलिए खड़े
Shiva and Brahma did not stand up. Brahma did not stand up because he was the father of Daksha. He had no need to stand.
वो
Shiva,
जमाई लगते हैं,
he was the son-in-law
क्योंकि
of Daksha
पुत्री सती है,
because Daksha's daughter was Sati and Sati was married to Shiva.
तो जमाई जो है पुत्र के समान होता है,
So son-in-law is like son. So Shiva should have stood up and respected him, but he was sitting in dhyana of Bhagavan. He is a great devotee, he's a Vaishnava. So seeing that, Daksha became very angry.
यहाँ कोई अपमान वाली तो बात नहीं थी, उन्होंने कोई उनको
So
गाली
this was nothing like insult or anything. It's not that Shiva had insulted Daksha. It just only this much that he did not stand up on his seat. So then Daksha's ego got hurt,
चोट पहुंची कि वो
and it got hurt so severely that he could not keep it under his control
कि मेरा आदर होना चाहिए, मैं एक आदरणीय व्यक्ति हूँ,
because he had that desire that he should be respected.
गर्व था, अहंकार था,
He's a respectable person, and then with that he had his ahankar also, because if you have desire but not that ahankar, he could have kept remained silent, but because of ahankar he started speaking bad words to Shiva,
लेकिन फिर
and
शिव जी के भक्त थे,
Shiva remained
वो शांत नहीं रहे,
peaceful, but his devotees,
क्रोध के कारण
they did not remain peaceful, they became infuriated,
की मृत्यु उसी के
and such a big trouble happened, and at the end Daksha died, and Sati had to immolate herself in the yoga samadhi fire,
दक्ष को फिर बकरे का सिर लगा,
and Daksha got the head of a goat
मैं करता है ना,
because the goat gives the utters the sound mai, which so mai in Hindi the word is mai, it refers to I.
तेरे को बकरे का सिर लगा,
So Shiva would have thought that you are always stuck on I yourself, so you get the head of a goat.
के कारण जो है फिर समस्याएं खड़ी होती हैं,
So this is why problems arise. That's why Bhagavan is telling here,
प्रसादम अधिगच्छति,
Atma vasher vidheyatma prasadam adhigacchati.
निर्मलता भी हो,
Prasad also means cleanliness.
प्रसाद माने भगवान की कृपा को भी प्रसाद बोलते हैं,
Bhagavan's mercy is also prasad, happiness is also prasad,
स्वच्छता को भी,
and cleanliness is also prasad.
अगर साफ है
If somebody's mind is clean,
प्रसाद से पूर्ण है,
then
निर्मल
we
है।
say that his mind is full of prasad,
यानी कि उसका
cleanliness.
मन जो है निर्मल हो जाता है, क्योंकि
That
राग
means such a
द्वेष
person
मुक्त है।
who is liberated from raga dvesh, his mind becomes clean, because raga and dvesh are the
कारण जो है फिर
fundamentally these two are the dirt
खड़ी होती है।
or the anarthas.
तो इसलिए भगवान
So all problems happen because of that.
प्रसाद प्राप्त हो।
That's why here Bhagavan is telling that such a person achieves prasad.
भगवान आगे जाके
Later in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan will say,
प्रतिजानीहि न मे भक्ता प्रणश्यति। यहाँ पर बुद्धि नाशात प्रणश्यति कहा।
here he is telling buddhi nashat pranashyat in the previous one, and later he will tell that my bhakta never perishes. Why? Because bhakta is not like this.
उसकी बुद्धि स्थिर रहती है, उसकी बुद्धि भगवान में रहती है। मय्येव मनादर
The bhakta's mind is, his intelligence is stable, situated in Bhagavan.
लगी रहती है,
It is fixed upon Bhagavan.
वो संयत चित्त रहता है।
That's why he remains self-controlled, free from raga dvesh.
फिर उसकी इंद्रियां जो हैं जहाँ
And then such a person
था वो तोड़ दिए गए, तो अब वो कोई हमें हानि नहीं पहुंचाती।
So now they do not cause any damage to us. So here
का प्रयोग किया, जैसे इंद्रियां भी एक प्रकार से पशु की तरह हैं।
Indriyas also are like, senses also are like animal.
समान है, तो जैसे घोड़े चरने जाते हैं, घास चरते हैं,
How the horses feed on grass, like that Indriyas, the senses also, they also roam around, searching for their food,
हमको सुखदायी भोजन
where
प्राप्त होगा।
where we will get
कहते हैं अगर राग
good food, where we'll become happy. So Bhagavan is telling, when the person is free from raga dvesh, let the senses keep wandering, doesn't matter. Actually, if you see the animals, like if you see cow, when cow is hungry, whatever you feed like dry grass, green grass, cow will eat that. Cow doesn't have raga dvesh. We just fill her belly.
ऐसा नहीं है,
But a human being is not like this.
पसंद का ही चाहिए, अगर वो
A
नहीं
human being wants everything according to his choice.
कितना समय उसी में निकलता है।
So how much time gets wasted in that only?
एक दृष्टि से अगर देखा जाए तो वास्तव में पशु हमसे अच्छे हैं, क्योंकि उनकी
So from this point of view, animals are far better than human beings because they are free from raga dvesh.
और विश्लेषण करें,
But if we analyze deeply,
थोड़ी नियंत्रित तो है ही, क्योंकि हर एक
our senses are also regulated to some extent because every person does not eat everything.
कितनी बार पूछते हैं ये सब नियम क्यों बनाए जाते हैं।
Many times people ask why so many rules are created, why don't we eat carrot?
इसके एक बड़ा सामान्य प्रश्न आता रहता है।
I keep getting this question, why we should not eat carrot?
उनसे पूछो कि क्या आप सब कुछ
So if you ask that person, do you eat everything?
नहीं खाता है,
Any person does not eat everything.
सब नहीं करते।
There are some things that the person does not like.
कुछ लोगों को जो है गुलाब जामुन पसंद है, किसी को नहीं पसंद है।
Somebody likes gulab jamun, somebody doesn't like. Somebody likes sweet rice, somebody doesn't like. It's not that everyone likes everything.
अच्छा लगता है,
Somebody likes pasta, somebody doesn't like.
तो इसका मतलब वो भी तो अपना कुछ संयम तो कर रहा है ना।
So that means that person is also having some regulation or no, because he is also not eating everything.
हमारे अंदर संयम करने
That means
सामर्थ्य है,
we have the capacity to control ourselves, to regulate the senses.
होती तो हम सब कुछ
If we would not have had that capacity, then we would have been eating everything,
कुछ देखते रहते,
or we would have been hearing everything or seeing everything. So it proves that we have
संयम करने की
the capacity to regulate ourselves, but we do not utilize that capacity. So we should use that,
अर्थ यहाँ पर इतना ही है
and using that means
हम जो भी विषय का भोग करें और राग और द्वेष से ना करें
whatever sense objects we consume, we should not do that with raga dvesh. We should not do that. We should not use sense objects with attachment and aversion. Sometimes people become averse to something out of anger.
त्याग दिया उसने
So the person gave away the sense object, but he did that with anger, by dvesha.
वास्तव में त्याग नहीं है
So that is not actually giving up, because the dvesha is residing inside.
खा लेगा
The day the dvesha will go away, the person will again start using that sense object.
के साथ में राग भी तो उसमें है उसका द्वेष के कारण छोड़ रहा है लेकिन राग तो नहीं गया है उसका
The person gave up the sense object due to dvesha.
द्वेष से ग्रहण करना है द्वेष से छोड़ना
So accepting and giving up by raga and dvesh, that is not the purport of this verse. That is not actual self-control. And we will not become happy by such acceptance and rejection,
ये सब लोग तो आनंद
because the desire will remain. We will see how other people are enjoying, and I could not do that.
तो जब ये राग द्वेष से विमुक्त हो जाएगा तो उस समय वास्तव में वो जो विषय भोग
So
है,
when this
वो
person
भोग नहीं
will become free from raga dvesh, then he is not actually now anymore engaging in sense enjoyment,
होता है जब हम उसमें राग से करते
because enjoyment is by raga. Then after that, if you are free from raga, then you are simply using the sense object, not enjoying it, and you will use only that much what you need,
हैं नियंत्रित नहीं होगा
because the person is now being not controlled by raga.
भूख तो दो रोटी की है और मैं
It's not that I am hungry, I need 2 rotis, but I eat 4. That will not happen, because the person is free from raga. And Bhagavan also tells in Gita that the yogi is balanced in his diet.
तो इस प्रकार से वो तभी संभव है
So this is only possible when the person
निकल जाएगा
is becoming free from raga dvesh.
कृपा भी होता है
And then prasada also means Bhagavan's mercy.
प्रसाद अधिगच्छति उसको फिर प्रभु का प्रसाद मिलता है
Then he achieves the mercy of Bhagavan. And without the mercy of Bhagavan, there is no real happiness, near real bliss in life. No person can become blissful without Bhagavan.
भी प्राप्त होता है जब व्यक्ति
This bliss is only achieved
भगवान के प्रति समर्पित होता है
when a person surrenders himself or herself to Bhagavan.
दिया था और उसी के कारण व्यक्ति राग द्वेष से मुक्त होगा क्योंकि जब
That will make the person free from raga dvesh, because when mind will become fixed upon Bhagavan, then it will remain away from sense objects.
तो वो अपने आप ही चला
When there is raga dvesh in the sense objects, then the mind will automatically go there. Senses will also start getting attracted to sense objects without doing anything else.
और इसका मूल कारण अज्ञान है
And the fundamental cause of
जड़ में जाए
this is agyan, ignorance.
में जो है मल रहता है मल है कामना रूपी राग द्वेष रूपी और विक्षेप रहता है
Because mind is full of desires, and then there is vikshep and agyan, ignorance.
ज्ञान जो है वो उसको आवृत करके रखता है
So this ignorance
आवृत करके रखता है
covers
विवेक है
covers what? Covers the discrimination of the person.
अज्ञानी ना
Because of ignorance, a person becomes unable to discriminate between right and wrong.
जो है वो अज्ञान है अविद्या
So the fundamental cause is agyan,
के पीछे
ignorance.
इसलिए ज्ञान प्राप्त करना बहुत आवश्यक है
That is why it is extremely important to get the right knowledge.
नहीं ज्ञानी न
And that is what Bhagavan is giving here in Gita.
क्योंकि जब तक हम इसको समझेंगे
Because until and unless
तो फिर हम इस पर
if we do not understand this,
क्यों करेंगे
why will we endeavor
या तत्व
to become free from raga dvesh?
पहले जानता है फिर
Because first there is jnana,
वो यत्न कर
knowledge, then the person gets desire according to the knowledge, and then the person performs action according to the desire, and then he gets the
अति आवश्यक
result. That's why it is very important to understand this.
उसका क्या फल होता है
Then when the person achieves the prasada, the mercy,
अगले श्लोक में
then what is the result? That is explained in next verse.
हानि रस्योपजायते प्रसन्न चेतसो हि आशु बुद्धि पर्यवतिष्ठते। जब मनुष्य को मन की
Translation:
शांति प्राप्त हो जाती
after a person attains tranquility of mind, all of his sorrows are destroyed. Certainly, the intellect of a person whose mind is serene becomes firmly established in God without delay.
तो मन की शांति
So, peace of mind
होगी जब मन निर्मल
is only possible when mind is pure,
मन में दोष
it is clean. As long as the mind has got impurities, defects, it cannot become peaceful. So here prasad is Bhagavan's kripa, the purity of mind, peace, whatever you call it. When it happens, the person's miseries get destroyed.
अशांत
Like Bhagavan also says that a disturbed mind, a person of disturbed mind can never be happy.
कार्य करता
So mostly we perform actions to achieve happiness, sukha. Every person is endeavoring to achieve sukha, but actually more important than happiness is peace of mind.
सुख के साधन इकट्ठे कर लीजिए, आप अशांत ही रहेंगे।
Because as if mind is not peaceful, no matter how many sense objects you obtain, you will never be happy. But if mind is peaceful, wherever you are, you will be happy.
अगर मन आपका अशांत है, आप जहाँ
And if your mind is not peaceful, wherever you are, you will be miserable. You will always keep searching for reasons to be miserable. This is a big quality of the mind, that the mind cannot survive without misery. Why? Because it has become habituated to remain miserable. Without misery, mind,
राग द्वेष से वियुक्त नहीं है,
a person whose mind is not free from raga dvesh, whose mind is not fixed up on Bhagavan, you fulfill all his desires, still that person will not remain, will not become happy.
मन अशांत हो जाए।
Will keep searching for something
पहले मन को अशांत करेगा,
that so that that person will become,
उसके लिए
he will lose his peace of mind.
और जब उसका समाधान
Then he will keep searching for solutions, and when you get some solution,
और
and then in this world the solution leads to a bigger problem.
एक से ज्यादा ही होती है प्राय करके,
If you get only one problem, you are lucky, because generally we have multiple problems.
सुखी होंगे, ये मिल जाएगा तब
So people keep thinking like this: if I get this, I will be happy. If I get that, I will be happy. Because when you get that, then you forget that actually I was endeavoring for this to get happiness. Now your happiness gets fixed up on something else again in the future,
आपका मन
because while endeavoring to get that object, again you got another problem. So in this way, one problem after the other, mind keeps searching for reasons to become miserable.
और
So that's why Bhagavan is telling that when mind becomes peaceful, only then the sorrows are destroyed. And it's a great surprise, like we were talking of Daksha. Daksha's one daughter is Shanti. Daksha had 5 daughters. One daughter's name is Shanti, which means peace. And the son of Shanti
दक्ष का मतलब आप
is Sukha, that is happiness.
एक्सपर्ट,
So Daksha, the word Daksha means expert,
कौशल है उसको दक्ष,
one who is
तो
expert
वास्तव में दक्ष
in doing some
यही है
activity.
कि वो शांति को पैदा करे,
So the expertise
जब वो
of
शांति को पैदा
Daksha,
करेगा तो उससे सुख होगा।
of an expert person, is to become
पुत्र
peaceful.
देखेंगे,
And when there will be peace of mind, then happiness will be born.
राग द्वेष है तो उसकी दक्षता है अभी आई नहीं है।
So when you see that Daksha, although his name is Daksha, but he has Raga Dvesha within inside him. That's why he is not actually expert. So we have to remember this, that the daughter of Daksha or expertise is Shanti, that is peace, and the son of Shanti or peace is Sukha, happiness. So when the person becomes free from Raga Dvesh, he becomes free from Dukkha, and when his mind will be peaceful, and when mind is peaceful, he will become happy.
ध्यान में रखना है
Because this question was asked by Arjun.
बुद्धि स्थिर कैसे होती है,
So how does the intelligence or buddhi become stable?
जब उसका मन
This is when his intelligence will become stable, when his mind will be peaceful, pure, achieve mercy of Bhagavan.
जिसका मन
Otherwise, the person whose mind is not peaceful, it is wavering, not stable. Even if that person achieves sukha or happiness, it is temporary, and that person is not dependable. Because if your intelligence is not stable, then you will again deviate after some time because he doesn't have control over his mind. So whatever that person has spoken now, the person will deviate from that. He will not remain fixed up on his statement.
अवस्थित चित्त से प्रसादोपि भयंकर, कि जो थोड़ी देर में प्रसन्न हो जाता है और थोड़ी देर में अप्रसन्न हो जाता है, और उसका प्रसन्न होना और अप्रसन्न होना बदलता रहता है. कुछ लोग ऐसे होते हैं ना, थोड़ी देर में नाराज हो गए,
We have seen this type of people. They become upset, then again come and beg for forgiveness, again become upset, again beg forgiveness. So if you get mercy of such this type of people also, it is dangerous, because you never know when these people will become angry. That what do you think of yourself? I did so much for you and you can't do little bit also for me. And that these people will they become then arrogant, they try to dominate over us. So it is better to remain away from the prasad of such people. That is dangerous. And the person whose buddhi, whose intelligence has become stable, that person is happy and he will make you also happy only. Because a person who himself is not happy, how can he give happiness to somebody else? The person whose mind is unstable, what happiness will that person give to others?
चेतस चित्त, तो आप देखेंगे कहीं मन की बात होती है, कहीं बुद्धि की बात होती है, कहीं.
So this chetas, the word which was used, we are not talking about ahankar. Anyway, it goes along and it is sitting on top of the others. So this chitta, it is closest to the atma. Chitta is closest to the atma. In our body, beyond the body is the senses, and in the senses also there are two divisions. One is the outer locators, the outer object, and the inner subtle senses. And above senses there is mind, and above mind there is buddhi or intelligence. And there also we have two parts, like there is brain, different parts in the brain. These are the instruments by which the intelligence functions. And then there is the subtle intelligence, and beyond the buddhi is chitta, and beyond above chitta is atma, and above atma is paramatma. In this way there is a sequence.
क्योंकि आत्मा के बिल्कुल निकट में है.
So because chitta is closest to the atma, and according to chitta, the state of chitta, the person functions. His functioning happens according to the program of the chitta only. The samskaras which are there, the samskaras are not chitta themselves, what we call conscience. One is consciousness, which is in the atma, and one is what we call conscience in English, that is in chitta, or what people call superego. Freud calls it superego. That is not part of the chitta, it is imposed on the chitta. So it is in such a way that, like there is a wax, and when the wax melts, and when the wax melts, if you put color in that, the color will spread in the molten wax, and then the candle, this is how the color candles are created. So there are white candles or different other colored candles also, like that also people manufacture. So they put color in the molten wax. So similarly, our chitta, in some situations, it melts. And actually it melts in two situations only, raga and dvesha. So when you become very happy, then also it melts, and when you are very miserable or depressed, then also it melts. So chitta melts in two situations, prasad and vishad, mercy and happiness and depression. And that time, whatever the chitta captures, the color it captures, that color goes very deep in the chitta. And with then the life keeps functioning according to that samskara. Because and then there is the buddhi, because by buddhi we get the memory. Because if there is no smriti or memory, what will you do with the mind? So the memory happens by the connection, and then we perform accordingly. And that smriti is controlled by Bhagavan. Bhagavan controls the smriti. So we think that we are the controller, but Bhagavan says he controls the memory. I give forgetfulness, I give remembrance. But he doesn't do it independently or just whimsically. He does that according to our karma. Otherwise, it will be considered a defect in Bhagavan, that randomly he just makes somebody remember or forget. The point is that we are not independent. Our memory is not under our control. Some people think that they have very super memory. They should not be proud of their high memory power. They, those who have control over their senses, they should also not be proud of their ability of sense control. Because Bhagavan's Maya, made of the three gunas, can deviate us anytime, because we are under the control of Maya. So when our mental state will change, we cannot predict that. That's why we should always remain humble. And there are so many kathas in Shastra regarding people who became proud and then they become caught up in sense enjoyment. That's why if we have good knowledge, good remembrance, we should consider it as the kripa or the mercy of Bhagavan. This is the real prasanna chetas. That's why these two meanings are given, so that we remember that this is not ours. These abilities actually do not belong to us. These abilities should be considered as prasad or gifts from Bhagavan. If we remain in that consciousness, we will not be falling in trouble. So in that state, all sorrows they go away. So misery is of three types, like we have studied in Sankhya Karika: Adibhautik, Adidaivik, and Adhyatmik. So some miseries are coming from mind and body. If body has some disease or gets infected by some virus or disease, like sickness, headache, etc. These are our own. And then there are mental diseases also in that, kama, krodha, etc. These are all diseases. And then specific mental diseases also. These are all adhyatmik klesh. Here, the word adhyatmik does not mean the general meaning of adhyatmik, which is spirituality. Here, adhyatmik means refers to mind and body. And some miseries some miseries are adibhautik. They come from other living entities like insects, snakes, or let's say your neighbors are disturbing you, or maybe your life partner is disturbing you. No need to go far. Adi Bhautik means the other bhutas. bhutas, which means ghosts, they also disturb us. And then there is Adi-Daivik miseries, which means miseries coming from natural calamities like excessive rainfall or drought, tsunami, etc. So here the question may be raised that if the person gets the prasada, his mental miseries go away, but what about the miseries coming from others and the natural calamities? What about those miseries? Because Bhagavan said that all miseries go away. So the meaning is that actually even the Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik or Adi Devik, all the miseries ultimately they are all Adhyatmik only, because ultimately miseries are experienced in mind only. The reason may lie outside, but the experience is happening internally. So actually misery is of one type only, and that is Adhyatmik. And when that person got the prasad, his mind became peaceful, then this dukkha, this misery will not anymore appear as dukkha. That does not mean the miserable situation will not arise or the person will not encounter that. So we all have this experience that in one same situation, one person remains happy, the other remains miserable. Two people are there, two are getting the same salary, and in that salary one is happy and one is miserable. Two people are there, brother, sister, one remains happy, one remains miserable. I want this, I want that. So ultimately the reason is our mind. Ultimately the cause of our sukha and dukkha, happiness and misery, the ultimate reason is not the other people. The fundamental reason is our mind. So this is a very important teaching lesson of Bhagavad Gita. Is speaking about this again and again because we do not focus on these points. We generally are habituated to think that we are miserable because of others. So we keep complaining about other people, and it is not that other people are not the cause of misery. Those reasons are also there. But the point I am making is that even those, if those people go away from our life, still we will remain miserable because the fundamental reason is lying within, not outside. So like one is the direct cause and one is the indirect cause. So these other people, they are not the direct causes of misery. Like in Nyaya, we have 9 reasons. So Nyaya talks of the Vishesh Karanas, the main reasons. Similarly, the primary reason of our misery is our mind, and not even the mind actually. It is the dosha in the mind, the defect in the mind. Because if the defect goes away, then mind will be happy. Because by nature, mind is peaceful and happy only. If you study Sankhya, mind is born of Sattva Guna. So by nature mind is peaceful. Misery is what we have fed inside the mind. So if we remove that content of misery from the mind, then mind by nature is peaceful. You do not have to do anything separately to make the mind peaceful. Like if you do not make any noise inside the room, then the room by default is peaceful only. So when we make a mind, when we make the room soundproof, what do? We prepare it in such a way that no noise, no sound comes from outside. In order to bring peace in the room, then we do not do anything separately to make it peaceful. We just keep it protected from external sound. So similarly, mind by default is peaceful only, but from outside we have brought misery in that,
उसको अगर हम
disturbance in that. If we can control that and if we can stop that, then mind automatically will become peaceful,
निवारण हो जाएगा।
and then all your miseries will go away.
नाम हानि रस से उपजाए थे। और वैसे भी प्रसाद, आपको बढ़िया प्रसाद मिल जाए खाने के लिए तो प्रसन्नता होती है ना, फिर दुख चला जाता है। तो इसलिए कहते हैं
And if you take the meaning of prasad literally as prasad, what we eat, then we all know we become happy by eating prasad, by doing seva of prasad.
तो वो दुख आता ही रहेगा,
And if mind is impure, then miseries will always be there, because we have made it our habit.
आदत पड़ जाती
Like if somebody is addicted to smoking or drinking wine,
है तो वो हानिकारक ही है,
so it is damaging only.
के लिए हानिकारक
It is damaging to the health of the person, to physical health, to mental health, for the entire body and life of the person, because body is not designed for all this. But then the person has become habituated to all this, and then he likes this.
दुख का उसको स्वभाव हो गया। इसलिए कहते हैं ना कुछ खटपट तो होती रहनी चाहिए, नहीं तो ऐसा लगता है कि जीवन ही नहीं है। आदमी बोर हो जाता है कि कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा है।
And if some people feel that nothing is happening in my life, it is very boring.
तो अपने मित्र की बात कर रहा था, कहता उनकी पत्नी
A
शिकायत
person came to meet me, and the wife was complaining that this person is always peaceful. Whatever you give to this person is always peaceful. Whatever you give him to eat, he is happy with that. So the wife was feeling as if it's not a happening life.
रिटायर हो गए,
Earlier he was very active, now he is retired. He is mostly into dhyana, his spiritual activities. Whatever he gets, he is happy. So the wife was having problem with this type of nature of the person also, because she is habituated that all the time something should be happening, exciting.
कहने का मतलब है कि
So the point is that our chitta, our mind, our buddhi,
स्वाभाविक रूप से शुद्ध ही है।
it is by default pure only.
स्वाभाविक रूप से शुद्ध ना होती तो आप उनको शुद्ध नहीं कर सकते थे।
If it would not have been naturally pure, it would not have been possible to purify it. Like if a cloth is originally of black color, no matter how much you clean it, its color will not change, because it is made of black color. But if a cloth is of white color and if you remove the stain, it can go back to the white color.
इसी प्रकार हमारी
Similarly,
इंद्रियां सब वास्तव
our mind, senses, originally they are all pure only,
में बाहर से
but externally we are feeding impurities in that due to raga dvesh. If we can remove that, if we can get rid of that, then they will remain pure,
आनंद का जीवन बताएंगे।
and then we will be happy.
शास्त्र में जो नियम बताए जाते हैं,
That's why the rules that we have in our dharma shastras, whether they are related to our daily schedule,
कीजिए,
waking up in the Brahma Muhurta, doing puja, japa,
भोजन कीजिए, वो
or having a certain type of diet. The schedule has been designed so that our mind does not become polluted.
आप आनंद से रहेंगे, आप प्रसन्नता से रहेंगे।
If mind remains free from pollution,
लेकिन आज
then we will be happy. Otherwise, we will keep encountering so many miseries.
ये इतने सारे नियम क्यों बना दिए बेकार में फालतू के, इससे क्या होता है? हमें स्वतंत्रता होनी चाहिए। हम जो
Because today's society is all about independent living, independent mentality. We should be able to do, eat, whatever we like. So then if we have this type of independence, then we will encounter so many problems. It will give its own result. That's why people are not happy in today's society.
मुक्त होकर
So Bhagavan is giving the lesson how we can become free from raga dvesh and become happily situated in life. So we'll stop here. If you have any question, you can ask.
धन्यवाद बाबा जी, बहुत बहुत क्षमा चाहूँगा। पूर्व वाले श्लोक पे जाना चाहता हूँ, 62 नंबर।
Question.
ये लेकिन स्पष्ट रूप से प्रश्न होना चाहिए।
ठीक है। ध्यायते विषयान पुंसा वाले में जो इसमें भागवतम में दो बड़ी व्यक्तित्व जो अजामिल और सौबरी ऋषि का
So my question is regarding the regarding Ajamil and the episodes of Ajamil and Saubari Rishi in Bhagavatam. So they are not ordinary people. They have been designated as Jitendriyas, Ajamil, Saubari Rishi also did so much of tapasya.
वहाँ पर क्या हो रहा है कि ये
So
घटना हो रही
तो
है?
ऐसा तभी होता है, उसका मूल कारण जो मैंने बताया कि आप साधना दो प्रकार से कर सकते हैं। ये बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है इसको समझना। आपका प्रश्न
So sadhana can be done in two ways. It is very important to understand.
साधना जो है एक कर सकते हैं आप भगवान केंद्र बनाकर, भगवान
One is sadhana can be done by focusing on Bhagavan, and other is sadhana can be done by Swakendra,
जब भी कर सकते हैं
just our own effort. So same sadhana,
कर सकते हैं। बहुत बड़े बड़े ऋषि
you can do japa, tapasya. There are so many stories of rishis who fell down, those stories in Shastra. So the fundamental issue was that of ahankara. So because if you do lot of such big tapasya, so much of austerity, then there is big ahankar also. So I was telling, if somebody has lot of intelligence,
उसको अहंकार हो जाए,
etc., then the person can become proud also.
विद्या विवाद आए, धनम मद आए, शक्ति परेशान पर प्रीड़न आए, तो फिर आप विवाद करेंगे, दूसरों को नीचा
Then the person will simply engage in debates, bringing others down. Then the person will have mother,
जैसे रावण है, कोई रावण
will become intoxicated and fall down. Ravan was not an ordinary person. He was a very knowledgeable person in Ved, Jyotish, was a big tapasvi.
तो जानते हैं ना कि उसके सिर से
Hiranyakashipu had done so much of tapasya. We know that so much fire was also coming from his head. But why was he doing all this? What was his sankalpa, determination or objective?
इस कारण से उनको असुर कहा, जो हम भागवतम में भी पढ़
That's
रहे हैं।
why they are designated as asuras. What we are currently studying in Bhagavatam, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said that these people like Jarasandha, etc., they were all religious people. Then why are they called asuras? Because they want to remain independent. They oppose Bhagavan. Even if they accept Ishvara or Bhagavan, they do that for their own enjoyment,
ऐसा जब होता
for self-aggrandizement.
है, उनका पतन
So such people, their fall down is guaranteed.
दिखाने के लिए ये
In order to show this only, there is an episode. These episodes are narrated in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam.
संदीप जी का प्रश्न है, जो
Next
व्यक्ति
question.
राग द्वेष से परे है,
The person who is free from raga dvesh, but still living in this material world. So
इंद्रिय विषयों के संपर्क में
So if that person comes in contact with sense objects, he experiences something or just remains neutral.
होता है, उसकी इंद्रियां कोई
So answer, yeah, his senses are not dead. If he eats sweet, then obviously he will experience the sweetness.
गुस्तावो जी का प्रश्न है
Next
कि
question,
एक बिगिनर
how should a beginner in spiritual life act
व्यक्ति, नया व्यक्ति
if they can't self-regulate
प्रकार से उसे कार्य करने
to the highest standard?
उच्च स्तर तक नियंत्रित नहीं कर पाता है?
किस तरह से कार्य करना चाहिए, मतलब या साधना करनी चाहिए, कार्य से क्या मतलब है?
So answer like, what do you mean by how should he act? You just should do his sadhana by remaining focused on Bhagavan.
से काम करेंगे तो
This is very important because
हो जाएगी।
as long as we act independently, there will be defect. No person can understand his own weakness.
कि गुरु की शरण लीजिए,
When our Shastras say that you should take shelter of Bhagavan,
शाब्दे परे च निष्णातम ब्रह्मण्युप समाश्रयम्। भागवत में क्यों कहा गया है कि तस्मात्, तस्मात्
so why is it said in Bhagavat that tasmat, that therefore if you have such desire that you want to progress spiritually,
वाची शब्द है कि अगर आपके
so the word tasmat is hetuvachi, means if you have such desire, it's not for others. The instruction to take shelter of Guru is given only if you have such desire or goal of progressing on the spiritual path. Then you should accept Guru if you have that goal,
श्रेय मतलब आध्यात्मिक
if that is what you want,
भगवत प्राप्ति,
achieving perfection in spiritual life.
भौतिक उन्नति
That is Shreya. Preya means material progress and Shreya is spiritual progress. So if you want spiritual progress, then you need a guru, because you yourself cannot understand your own doshas, your own defects, because this is a quality of ahankara.
अपने को श्रेष्ठ देखना चाहता है, वो अपने अंदर कमी देखेगा क्या? तो वो व्यक्ति अहंकारी है, क्योंकि हमारी जो आइडेंटिटी है, हमारा जो व्यक्तित्व
So
हमारे
that is
अहंकारी तो है।
ahankara, because our personality, what is that? That is our ahankar only, because we always speak according to I.
आँख, कान, इंद्रियां, मन, बुद्धि, इसको तो आई नहीं बनाते हैं ना।
We don't make our eyes, ears, all these, etc. as I. I is the ahankar, and that always wants to remain topmost. So how we will see defects in ourselves? That is why it is important.
कहते हैं कि ये गुरु करण धारम,
That's why Bhagavan says, accept Guru,
एक नैया है,
because this human life, it is a boat,
वेद का उपदेश ये एक
and
वायु है, और गुरु
this
जो है वो कर्ण
statements of Shastra, they are like the wind, and Guru is navigating the boat. So if we do not accept, then we will definitely
और उसको चलाने वाला
drown in the ocean. If you are sitting in the boat and you do not have the boatman, then we will definitely drown in the ocean.
संहृदय माध्यम सुलभम सुकल्पम सुकल्पम, उनको दे दीजिए माइक पीछे।
Pranam Guru Maharaj. My question is that um, Raga and Dvesha are the very basis of existence. Because if you are living in your marriage and unless you really love your wife, you really cannot have a relationship.
Yes.
And same with Dvesha, if you are in a social setting, you're watching a match or something, unless you really have that intensity in your heart, it's not possible to relish any melody of life, whether it is happiness, distress, whatever. My question is, when Bhagavan is saying here that we have to be regulated in that, usually in a devotee's life, that manifests as indifference to our family. So that breaks the relationship, because the wife tells you are doing it, but you're doing it only for naam ke vaste. You're not in it, so they don't feel, the other party doesn't feel the intensity. So you may take your wife out or your kids out to the park, but they don't feel that. They know that you're committed. It's like you're committed, but not really. Yeah. So so my question is, Guru Maharaj, that how are we to apply this verse within a practical context of life? Because clearly Bhagavan is saying that results in lasting peace and things like that. That's
तो उनका प्रश्न ये है,
So, in brief, his question is that here it is said that we have to become free from Raga Dvesh, but when we live in our family, we have wife, children. If we do not have Raga towards them, then we will not have relation also towards them. We will become udasin or kind of neutral, and they will also understand this person is udasin or neutral towards us. There will be no rasa in the life, and they will also think like this, that what relation we should have with this person. So this is a very good question and a very practical question, because we have to live in this society only. We don't have to go to some mountain. We have to live in this society, and whatever Bhagavan is teaching, this is in the context of Karma Yoga, not Jnana Yoga. So these three paths are there: Karma, Jnana and Bhakti. So from the Jnana Yoga point of view, then you must become udasin, totally detached. But this narration going on in Gita is not of Jnana Yoga. That's why he referred to Vishayan Indriyacharan, that your senses, they are engaging with the sense objects. Otherwise, he would have told that just keep the senses totally away from the sense objects, complete detachment. So he is not teaching that here. So your question that I am in my family, I have wife, children, So I don't have rag dvesh also, and I should make relation also. How is that possible? So in Karma Yoga, there is no problem because people say that this itself is our karma. In Bhakti, what happens? Like I speak again and again, our vision should be Bhagavan centric. This is what we have to understand, because until and unless we understand this, we cannot apply it. So we have to see that my wife is Bhagavan's gift in my life, and she is also Angsha of Bhagavan only. It is not that only I am an Angsha of Bhagavan. Now, the wife may accept it or not, that is a different point, but she is also an Angsha of Bhagavan. This table belongs to this ashram, and this is my Guruji's ashram. So we have to see that object according to that only.
अगर हम माने कि टेबल में अगर जीवन है तो जो भी आपके संबंधी हैं,
So whoever is your relation in your life, first of all, you have to have this vision that they belong to Bhagavan, and I should not have this ahankara that I am very great and that person is inferior. Because after becoming devotee, people start thinking that I am a devotee and the other person is karmi. But before few years, you were also like that only. So don't forget what you were before you became a devotee. Now that you are having a great pride, it's not that you have spent lot of time. Just few years back, you were like that only, and this, and we also don't know who is having what samskara within. And it may happen the person whom you are calling an outsider, non-devotee, he may become a devotee and progress very fast compared to you. You must have seen there are some people 30-40 years, they don't progress much, and somebody became a new devotee, his knowledge, his behavior, he progressed very fast, is much better than that old senior devotee. So we should remember this also. So this fault finding mentality and considering ourselves superior, these are qualities of our ahankara.
हमारा अहंकार इस प्रकार से काम करता है और उसके कारण जो है वो सब समस्याएं खड़ी होती हैं, चाहे वो परिवार की समस्या हो, चाहे नौकरी पे समस्या हो, चाहे समाज में हो, वो उसी कारण होती है, अहंकार के कारण।
All the problems we have in family, workplace, etc., they are all due to our ahankara.
तो हमें ये ध्यान में रखना है।
So we have to remain conscious that our family members are angshas of Bhagavan, and I will nurture them happily so that they also become devotee. But generally that does not happen. At least they should become favorable towards Bhagavan or devotion. If somebody is completely antagonistic, then we have to stay away from such people, because we may not be capable enough to deal with them and maintain our good consciousness. And if those people think that this person left us, went away from us, then let them think, it doesn't matter, because there is nothing more important than protecting our own bhakti. But the point I am making is, don't think that others are inferior. Why does Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say Trinadapi Sunichena?
खाली वैष्णव के लिए ही करना है।
He is not telling that only bow down to Vaishnavas. He is telling, he is not telling that you just remain humble in front of devotee and just keep criticizing non-devotees. And I know people behave like that. Tell everybody you are karmi, you are this, you are that. But they are also angshas of Bhagavan only. And there are so many devotees in this world. How many? Very less. Maximum people are non-devotees only. If Bhagavan becomes intolerant like us, imagine when he would have destroyed all the non-devotees. So why don't you think like this, that Bhagavan has been maintaining the non-devotees since beginningless time. So we have to maintain this humility, this humble attitude in our life, and it is very important for bhakti, especially for relationships. If you remain humble, you will see everybody will like you, If you become proud, you will see that people will remain away from you. They will go away from the side. They will become worried. Arey, why did he come here?
बात करना नहीं चाहता है
Those people who are very proud, others don't want to talk to them.
आप मीटिंग में जाए पार्टी में जाए वहां बैठा हुआ तो मैं टेबल यहाँ लेता हूँ लेकिन अगर कोई सुशील विनम्र व्यक्ति होगा सब उसके साथ में आना चाहते हैं तो हमें ये विनम्रता अपने
If
अंदर
person is humble, tolerant, everybody likes to associate with that person. Bhagavan himself is like that.
बिल्कुल गर्व नहीं है देखिए
He has no pride at all.
उनके सुदामा और द्रुपद दोनों को आप तुलना कर लीजिए
Just compare Sudama and Drupad, Drupada's friend Drona, and see Bhagavan and Sudama. See how much difference.
क्यों दिखाई यहाँ ताकि हमको
Why these stories are narrated in Shastra? So that we understand that we are Drupada. Nobody else is Drupada. We ourselves are the Drupada.
हम ऐसा बर्ताव करते हैं और भगवान फिर
We behave like this.
करते क्रीड़ा यत् श्रुत्वा तत्परो भवेत् भगवान ऐसी लीला करते हैं कि उनको सुन के हम भी
So
ऐसे
Bhagavan does such leelas
भगवान नहीं बनना चाहते
to show that we also want to become something like Bhagavan.
और ऐसे व्यक्ति को ही वो पसंद करते हैं अपने पास दूसरे को रखेंगे नहीं वो
So we should actually imbibe the teachings of Bhagavan. And Bhagavan likes to keep such person with himself.
होना चाहिए कि मैं बहुत
We should not become proud of our bhakti also.
अहंकार पसंद ही नहीं है
He doesn't like ahankar.
तासाम सौभाग्यमदम वीक्षे भगवान ने गोपियों को देखा तो तत्रैव अंतर्धीयते प्रस्माय प्रसादाय तत्रैव अंतर्धीयते वहीं पे अंतर्धान हो गए उनको कृपा करने के लिए प्रसाद और प्रशम उनका जो मद था हालांकि उनका मद कोई ऐसा भौतिक मद नहीं था गोपियों का जो गर्व था उनको ये हो कि देखो भगवान हमारे साथ
The gopis of pride, the pride of the gopis that see Bhagavan is with us. That was actually not some material pride, but Bhagavan did not tolerate that much also. And Srimati Radharani is the heart of Bhagavan, and Bhagavan cries for her, but Bhagavan left her also, seeing pride. So that is just a leela.
दिखाया है
It's not some material pride or anything, but he is showing if he is dealing like that with the gopis and Srimati Radharani, then what to speak of us? What is our state? There is no comparison only. It's like comparing a speck of dust and Mount Sumeru.
लेकिन हम भी गर्व करते हैं
But we also feel pride.
तो हमारा गर्व क्या सहन करेंगे वो जब उनका
So
नहीं
how will Bhagavan tolerate our pride?
तो ये हमें
When he did not tolerate that subtlest little bit also in gopis.
आता है बार बार आता है
So we have to remain conscious of this because it keeps coming back again and again.
ठीक है और भी है कुछ क्या
So next question.
दीप जी का प्रश्न है यदि कोई
Should we defend ourselves when subtly accused, or should we let it go, recognizing it as just raga and dvesh?
समझ करके जाने देना चाहिए
बचाव भी कर सकते हैं वैसे
So answer,
निर्भर करता है क्या आरोप है
you can try to defend yourself also. It depends on case to case basis what type of accusation is that, how it will affect your life.
इसमें मत फंसिए
But do not get stuck up in the dvesha or aversion.
भगवान की कुछ प्रेरणा है कुछ सिखा रहे हैं हमको
Try to understand that Bhagavan is trying to teach something to us. Bhagavan also tried to get rid of that accusation on him.
अगला प्रश्न है कि आपने
Next question. In the previous class, you had explained that Bhagavan Shiva burnt Kamadev, but still he got overwhelmed by Krodh.
क्रोध फिर भी वो क्रोध के वशीभूत हो गए थे
चलो मैं ही पढ़ता हूँ इसको तो मेरा इंटरनेट गया तो
ये
काम को जला दिया उन्होंने काम पर एक्ट नहीं किया लेकिन काम तो था ना उसमें भगवान क्या कहते हैं
So answer, although he did not act on Kama, but still Kama was there.
में अगर कुछ ऑब्स्ट्रक्शन आती है कुछ अवरोध आता है तो उससे क्रोध आता है
So Bhagavan explains that when there is some obstacle in Kama, then we get Krodha, anger.
भगवान शिव की यही काम
So Bhagavan Shiva's desire was that I should sit and do dhyana on Bhagavan, and Kamadev came and created obstacle. So there was an obstacle in that desire or no? So how can you say there was no desire at all? Then why did he marry?
तो उनका यही प्रश्न है कि उन्होंने काम पर तो कोई कार्य नहीं किया, लेकिन वो फिर क्रोध से कैसे?
अरे काम से क्रोध होता है, कार्य करने से
So answer, krodha happens by kama. If somebody's kama is satisfied, why will he get krodha?
तभी तो क्रोध आता है। मानो मेरे को भोजन करना है, मैं भोजन करने जा रहा हूँ और कोई मेरे सामने से थाली उठा ले तो क्रोध आएगा नहीं आएगा?
If I am eating food, if somebody takes away the plate, I will feel angry or no?
तो अपने ध्यान में बैठे हुए थे और ध्यान में उन्होंने आके बाधा
So
डाली,
he was sitting in dhyana and his dhyana was obstructed, so he became angry.
नहीं तो क्यों? अगर काम में आप अपनी पूर्ति कर रहे हैं तो क्रोध क्यों आएगा फिर?
If your desire is getting satisfied, why will you become angry?
क्रोध क्यों आता है?
You actually did not understand that why anger comes after desire.
How does pride relate to forgiveness? How does pride relate to forgiveness?
Pride?
Yeah, relate to forgiving someone.
Relate.
Yeah.
When you are proud, then you don't forgive.
So if somebody's not proud, how would the forgiveness, like, would they forgive right away, or would they not even have?
No, then they are vinamra, then they say, okay, he is also controlled by the gunas. हर एक व्यक्ति, जब आप समझते हैं कि सब व्यक्ति जो है वो 3 गुण से चल रहे हैं, ये दृष्टि जब आप रखेंगे तो फिर दूसरे में आप निंदा नहीं देखेंगे, दूसरे में आप अवगुण नहीं देखेंगे कि वो भी ऐसे नियंत्रित है, उसको वो कोई अपने इंद्रियों का वो कोई मालिक
So the person is not
आपके प्रति कुछ गलत कार्य किया,
proprietor of his senses. If you are trying to forgive somebody,
इंद्रियों का दास है,
the person whom you are trying to, you are also
वो तो उसका स्वभाव है,
not fully self-controlled. The person is controlled by his senses. So when you understand the person is maybe not doing it maliciously, is just acting or being overpowered by his senses. So you forgive that person.
Thank you.
संदीप जी का एक प्रश्न है, यदि कोई अपना परिवार शुरू करना चाहता है
Next
तो क्या
question,
उसे
if somebody wants to start a family,
या फिर
then
अगर ना मिले तो समझ
should he try to like marry a devotee only, or if not getting a devotee, should think that Bhagavan wants to keep me single only?
हाँ ऐसे ही देखना चाहिए, अगर भक्त नहीं मिल रहा है,
Yeah, if you are not getting a devotee for marriage,
क्योंकि आपका
especially for you, then you should remain single only if you are not getting
जब भी अगर आपका
married to a devotee.
मतलब आपकी बहुत बड़ी समस्या है।
So if you are still ready to marry a non-devotee, then you have a serious problem in life.
सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपाल नंदनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महात् एकं शास्त्रं देवकी पुत्र गीतम् एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव एको मंत्रस्तस्य नामानि यानि कर्माप्येकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्म सम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयः स्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम् यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णो यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीर्विजयो भूतिर् ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजंघ्रये भवे भवे यथा भक्तिः पादयोस्तव जायते तथा कुरुष्व देवेश नाथस्त्वं नो यतः प्रभो नाम संकीर्तनं यस्य सर्वपापप्रणाशनं प्रणामो दुःखशमनस्तं नमामि हरिं परं हरि ओम तत्सत्।